She showed up on my land with a stopwatch, a clipboard, and the kind of attitude that made you want to toss your coffee just to have an excuse to storm off. "You have 3 minutes to take down that fence, or I'm calling 911, she barked. Sharon Baxter, HOA president. Local menace, power-tripping lunatic, with a handbag full of measuring tape and delusions of grandeur, had apparently decided my ranch was now part of her fiefdom. Problem is, she didn't know who she was talking to. And that mistake, it cost her everything. When the deputies finally rolled up, Sharon was already halfway through her fourth rant about setback violations and community standards. But when Officer Brooks stepped out and saw me, the county sheriff, just leaning there on my porch sipping coffee from my father's old mug, his face went slack. He looked like a kid who realized he just caught his teacher off duty at the bar. Sharon's little HOA fantasy, it started crumbling right then and there. See, that fence she was so worked up over wasn't just any fence. My dad and I built it with our hands the year before cancer took him. Cedar posts sunk deep and straight deep enough to last past us both, he'd said. The rails were oak salvaged from storm-felled trees 20 years back. Every nail held a story, a memory, a piece of him. And she thought I was going to tear it down because of some arbitrary line in an HOA handbook. She dug out of her purse. I told her straight, "Ma'am, this ranch has been in my family 4 generations. We're not part of your HOA, never were." She didn't like that. She whipped out her phone like it was a weapon, snapping photos like she was documenting a crime scene. To her, this was about property values. To me, it was about legacy. That same day, Evelyn Harper, sweet older gal next door, roses trimmed like she was prepping for the Queen's visit, pulled me aside and whispered, "Wyatt, she's telling folks your place is drawing in coyotes and driving down home values." Apparently, Sharon had been scheming, spreading lies, positioning my land like some kind of neighborhood blight. She tried to flex, throwing around phrases like emergency meeting and expanding HOA jurisdiction. I pulled out the deed. My father laminated it years ago just in case something like this ever happened. This document, I told her, predates your HOA by 6 decades. You'd think that'd be the end of it. It wasn't. Next morning, 7 a.m. sharp, she's back, stopwatch, clipboard, and now an entourage, 3 HOA board members who looked like they'd rather be getting a colonoscopy than standing in my driveway. One's sweating bullets, one's scribbling notes, the other's filming like this was some courtroom drama. And right on cue, Sharon dials 911. Officer Brooks is the one who responds, poor kid. Just graduated from the academy. Tries to stay professional, but you can see he's sweating bullets. When she starts waving HOA ordinances in his face, the kid's hands shaking so bad he drops his notepad. She keeps barking about visual blight and Ordinance 7.3 like she's reading from a script. I step forward, place my badge on the porch rail next to the deed, and say, "Officer Brooks, this property's not under HOA control." The moment that badge caught sunlight, it was like someone hit pause on the whole scene. Sharon's board members all froze. One started backing away. Another literally dropped her pen. Sharon. She went from smug to seasick real quick. Still, she didn't quit. She called a meeting that night, tried to ram through a vote to absorb my ranch into the HOA zone, claimed I was lowering the value of the entire street. She put up a grainy picture of my property taken at sunset to highlight every shadow, every imperfection. This, she hissed to the crowd, is what's killing our community. Her little puppets stood up one by one with their rehearsed complaints. Strange noises at night, lower home values. Margaret Wilson even claimed my property kept her kids awake, even though her kids are in college 3 states away. When I finally stood to speak, she tried to shut me down, said I could talk during public comment like I was just another neighbor with an overgrown lawn. But I wasn't some guy griping about grass height. I was the sheriff, and I knew this was bigger than some wooden nails. Turns out Sharon wasn't just trying to be queen of the cul-de-sac. Lucas, my deputy, found the truth. She'd been in contact with Pinnacle Development, a land developer planning a new shopping center. And guess what sat smack in the middle of their proposal? My ranch. Her plan was simple. Use HOA pressure to squeeze me out, flip the land, and pocket $500,000 in commission, clean, cold, and crooked. When we confronted her, Sharon got sloppy. She tried everything, tampering with my water lines, sending fake notices, even spreading a deepfake video that showed me screaming at a random woman in a parking lot. It was so badly done, my secretary Betty nearly choked laughing. Still, the state board took it seriously. They suspended me pending investigation. That's how far her lies reached. But you know what cracked the whole thing wide open? Nathan Brooks, That young officer, Sharon, tried to bully into backing her story. He broke down and came clean. Brought me the emails, the threats, the evidence. She coerced him into pushing the fake video as real dash cam footage. Kid had tears in his eyes. Said, "I want to do the right thing." That's when I knew she'd lost. In court, we dropped the whole pile. Emails, fake footage, metadata, her secret talks with developers, and best of all, security cam footage of her crowbar in hand, vandalizing my father's fence like a raccoon in a trash heap. She went from Power Blazer to Inmate Orange real fast. But even then, even after the jury turned, after she confessed to trying to file fake eminent domain papers in a 3-minute window, she still had one last act. Crashing the final HOA meeting like a bad sitcom character, hair wild, tracksuit baggy, screeching about 3 minutes like it was some magic spell. She set her own timer, screamed about contracts, and tried to vote herself back in. Didn't work. Howard Tate, the guy who once voted her way, stood up and called for a vote of no confidence. Nearly every hand went up. Even her supporters had seen enough. As she stumbled out, knocking over lemonade and cookies, screaming 3 minutes like a ghost from a broken watch, the room finally exhaled. Later that night, I sat on my porch. Evelyn brought sweet tea and Lucas helped me patch up the fence. It felt right, like reclaiming something that had been stolen piece by piece. Just as the dust settled, a sleek car rolled up. A woman stepped out, fancy shoes and polished smile, said she was from Pinnacle Development. Asked if the land was open for discussion now. I stood, nodded toward the gate, and said flatly, "You've got 3 seconds to leave." She left. "So what about you? Got a Sharon trying to steal your piece with some clipboard and a stopwatch? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. And remember, it only takes 3 minutes to stand up, but it takes a lifetime to build what matters. Don't let anyone tear it down.